Hey guys, so still here on Maris Island. It is Monday the 13th, I think. I don't even know. So yeah, just enjoying the sunset coming on, and thought I'd just shoot another quick video before I called it a day. So the last video I talked about detachment and how hard it is to detach from things when you're in the midst of struggle and conflict. But at the same time, I do want to talk about that part of my transition and how I kind of got through it and managed or basically fought my way through the adversity that I was facing. And just to give you a bit of color, about 18 months, 2 years ago, there was a very firm plan in place where I was going to remain in the Canadian Forces for at least another 5 years, and that plan had been well established, and I had thought well documented. So suddenly it came to be that all that changed, and that was kind of the catalyst for me realizing that my capacity to adapt to life in the forces and to continue to serve had that capacity run out, and that was the big wake-up call for me. And so I had this very solid plan. No COAs, or what we call courses of action. Usually make a plan, you have at least 3 COAs. You're trying to plan for every eventuality. And so that kind of put me on my ear. And from there, immediately, the first thing I did was to make a plan. All right, what am I going to do now that things don't fit? And I planned a year out to release, and that was I came up with my 3 courses of action, 3 determinations of how I thought that might go down, and started to act in accordance with those plans. And as time went on, the changes just kept coming. The hits just keep on coming, as they say. When people say you gotta have a plan A, B, C, by the end of it, I was working on X, Y, Z. And that was hard. I mean, I was facing change on a weekly, sometimes daily basis that significantly impacted all of my plans and all of my expectations. So a massive change daily, and change, this is going to happen. No, wait, it's going to be way over here. No, it's over here again. And when you take the fact that I'm basically tapping out, bowing out because I can no longer tolerate being flexible, that was a huge strain. But through everything, you know what? The big thing I tried to avoid doing was having a pity party, and I allowed myself 1 or 2 here and there. It happened. Sometimes you got to vent. But for the most part, I just kept planning through everything. So starting with that plan I had the first time, when the first thing goes off the rails, having that plan gave me the baseline. It really gave me something to bounce off of, to measure change and to measure courses of action off of. So, at the end of it, we're talking months of this happening, and in the last 3 months was when it got extreme. Like, nobody knew what was happening day to day, who knew how things would change and what sort of obstacles I was going to face. And I'm going to tell you, that got so super exhausting and so hard to deal with. And and that's where I started to see some that's where I started to kind of explore the darkness again, unfortunately, because it was just that it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy, and that whole idea of being absolutely powerless to make it stop. But the one thing I could do was react to every change, because I already had a plan established. So then I could go back and revisit that plan and say, okay, how can I change this to make it work? Or do I have to scrap the whole thing? And every time there's a big change, okay, react to it, and then be as proactive as you can in coming up with those 3 other courses of action, those 3 other plans, trying to envision how this might go and how I might have to react. And I think probably the biggest part is kind of pre-envisioning my reaction to certain to different outcomes helped me keep flexible enough to roll with things and to make it through that transition successfully. And that was the pre-transition, I'll call it, and it was wild. But you can either just strap on for the ride and then cry victim when things happen to you, or you can be as proactive as you possibly can. And I honestly credit planning my way through every change, and even though I was completely out of control of what was happening, doing my best to envision those 3 courses of action, and then reacting, already having a baseline and already having considered different factors. I honestly think that's probably the only reason I'm here. And yeah, I can't say enough for, there's being the master of your own fate. And I wasn't in control. By no stretch was I in control. But, every time that situation changed, I gleaned as much control out of it as I could, as much situational awareness out of it as I could, and I did my best to plan for the future. And that really served me well. But I'm going to tell you, when I finally released, I was tired, just exhausted. And it was 20 days probably of just shut down. I didn't know what to do, but I had to try and get my brain to stop spinning. So that's the one part of adversity. That's managing adversity in terms of what I did in order to cope with things as they changed and things spiraled out of control. The second part of it is that silver lining side of things. My plan was to stay into the forces until 2023. That plan was at odds with the establishment at the end of it, and that changed things, and that was my wake-up call that I had to leave. So then I had to come up with my plan for, okay, I'm leaving in a year, I'm leaving in 2018, how am I going to do it? And I came up with my 3 courses of action, and none of them included this. Basically, what I was looking at was remaining in the forces right up to the end of August, and releasing and immediately rolling into school, and hopefully taking advantage of some benefits that certain programs that would have allowed me to do some on-the-job training or some civilian work experience before that. But that was the plan. And there were 3 or 4 different courses of action depending on timings for release date and all that good stuff. None of that panned out, obviously. I just kept hitting obstacle after obstacle after obstacle, and plan changing. But in the end, I could have just bewailed my fate and just been down and out about the fact that I was released not the way I wanted to be released, not the way I felt I should have been released. I was released not at the optimal time to release in order to fit my plans. But then this opportunity opened up, and I recognized this opportunity. And, I said, well, here's whatever reason this idea came to my mind to take this ride. And I thought to myself, if I don't seize this opportunity, 1, it may never happen again, and 2, I will very likely regret this for the rest of my life. But, like I said, it was trial by fire. If I hadn't gone through that, I wouldn't be sitting here today. If the plan for my retention in the forces hadn't changed, or my career plan and path hadn't changed, I wouldn't be looking at going to school in September, and I wouldn't be looking at all the amazing things that await me outside of the forces. You get comfortable in that bubble, and it's hard to leave. And I was definitely comfortable in my bubble, and it took a lot of things happening that were so counter to my plans that they were almost devastating. But you know what? I cannot argue that I have not fared well out of this. Look where I am. Look what I've seen in the last 2 months. What I've experienced. And the way I'm transitioning, instead of just, we have those little boxes. So I'm going to work, I'm going to go to school, and then I'm going to find work again. and that my plan was very much jumping from one box to the next. This is unscripted. This was unplanned up until the end of April when the idea started to form. And as scary as it is, you know what? I wouldn't be here without that adversity, and I wouldn't have made it through the adversity without that planning and determination, and just exercising whatever free will I had to determine outcomes in my life, instead of just being along for the ride and throwing my hands up in the air and saying I'm the victim of all this. I'm happier than I've been in a long time. And if I talk to Steve, he'll tell me my energy is pretty low right now. Steve's my coach. And it is. I'm tired. It's been a long road, and there's a few more miles yet. But, finding purpose and passion outside of the forces, finding a way to manage that transition so it's not so abrupt, taking that time to suck back and have a look at the bigger picture, and kind of pick through everything that happened instead of just accepting, or taking the easy way out and just saying, it all sucks, There's a lot of good that came out of all that struggle, and I'm proof of it sitting right here. Nothing good happens without struggle. And for a long time it felt, like I said, a year, and it was hell. It was absolute hell, and it felt like it was never ever going to end. And reacting to change and planning and working my way through it so often, I really at the end was like, I don't know how much longer I can do this. And then finally it all just broke. The strain, it just broke. I didn't break. I may have come close to it, but finally things came to pass, and what I was left with after a bit of reflection was that I'm now the captain of my own ship, and that is an amazing feeling. One maybe I didn't anticipate as it happened, but here it is. And I'm not going to say thank you to the people who turned the screws on me. No way, because things were happening that weren't right. But I will say that I credit all those great leaders in my career. I credit my upbringing and my parents. I credit all the role models in my life who taught me to never give up. And I certainly going to credit all those military leaders who taught me how to roll with the punches through training, just through interaction, through operations. I said in my last video, the hard charge and infantry attitude doesn't necessarily fit out here, and it doesn't, but that doesn't mean parts of it don't. And that toughness and that determination, that never goes out of style. And and not succumbing to just rage and anger, but actually as much as you can. And I struggled with detachment, but you know what? As much as I could, still trying to work on logic and trying to take the emotion out of it, and trying to plan my way through it, and trying to realistically determine what may or may not happen and what my potential courses of action will be. That saved my life. There's no doubt in my mind that saved my life. And here I am. And I don't know if I've got any more videos with regards to transition or regards to any of those things just yet. I think this might be the last for me. I know there is I've got another veteran interview scheduled in Calgary. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to getting somebody else's story out there. And so Vancouver tomorrow. And then my cousin Jonathan, a very old friend of mine, Jonathan, he's putting together a little show in Calgary on the 19th when I get there on the Sunday, and looking forward to seeing some old friends. He's an amazing guy, and you know what? I can't wait to have a bit of time just talking to him. And again, that wouldn't be happening if it hadn't been for the adversity, for that crucible, that catalyst for change that it is. And it's just a matter of us being able to withstand the pressures of it, and and hopefully you got a good peer network. I had a few people I could lean on, and they were with me through all that, and I thank them. But you know, I won't leave you with something that's so cliche as the sun always rises tomorrow, or the night is darkest before the dawn, or any of that. But you know, I understand what it means when someone says it feels like it just isn't going to end, because that's what it felt like. But when it ended, I came out of it stronger. I came out of it more determined. I came out of it ready to face new challenges and make new challenges, and that's the big one: make new challenges. I talked to a friend about this before. He said, you know, he said about stress and about not being able to just be still and be calm, and that's definitely a challenge, to just be still and be calm. But I also have found that if I don't go out and find good stress and challenge in my life and purpose, bad stress, bad challenges, and bad purposes will find me, and that's just the way it is. So you know, here's to completing this ride and getting on with the next mission, which is school, and then on to the next mission, and on to the next mission, and on to the next mission. You know, I don't know that I'll ever be able to stop. I don't know that I'll ever be somebody who's able to be calm and at rest, and that's fine, as long as, you know, I am doing things on my own accord, and as long as I am seeking my own challenges instead of allowing the world to impose those challenges on me. I mean, the world's going to, always. But, you know, if you have a purpose and a vision and something you're striving for, the world can throw these challenges at you, and you just sheer through them, because you got a goal. And it's when you don't have that focus and purpose and determination, when you don't have something, is where those challenges that the world offers you, you're going to see more of them, you're going to feel more of them, and they will eat you up. And that's what was happening to me. That shit was eating me up. And every time it threw new stuff at me, I just tried to find a purpose and tried to find a plan. And by and by, I made it here. It's not a bad place to be. It's been great to have a day here, to sit and do not much of anything. It's been awesome to just sit here and stare at the ocean and, you know, feel the sand between my toes and all that good stuff. But I'm vibrating. I am ready to get on that bike again tomorrow. I am ready to start getting out there working it again. I'm tired, but I'm definitely not ready to stop, because I'm just itching to be on the go. So tomorrow morning I get up bright and early. I leave this beautiful place, and I look forward to ride down to Vancouver and Jasper, and then Banff on the way to see Jonathan in Calgary. And I can't wait. The Fraser Canyon, give me a break. I cannot wait to see it. So yeah, I'm going to leave you guys with that tonight. I want to thank everybody who's joined me. I want to thank everybody for all their support. I want to thank all the veterans out there that have come up and just let me know that what I'm doing is worthwhile. That's huge, to know that that what I'm doing is affecting people in the right way, or you know, is meeting the right audience, and I feel like it is. And even the non-veterans who have reached out and said they've been touched by some of the stories they've heard. And you know, thank you all for being a part of this journey. It means the world to me. And I don't know what the future holds in store. I don't know what the next mission is after school, but you know, that's it's exciting to be the one making those decisions after 23 years of you know, being at the whim of someone else's interpretation of things, or, you know, the mandate of an establishment like the Canadian Forces, Department of National Defense. Again, it is amazing to be the captain of my own ship, and you know, I can't wait to connect with everybody that's you know, that remains between me and the end of the journey in Borden. And yeah, I just can't thank you guys enough for all the support. All right, have a good night.